Good evening, and we are live with Unity of Chattanooga's Midweek Faith Lift. I'm here with Rev Doug Werth from Unity of Chattanooga, Senior Pastor, Senior Minister, Interim Minister of Unity of Chattanooga.
Yeah, forget the intro.
Forget the intro.
I'm here.
You're here.
That's right.
Doug Werth.
Yes.
Thank you so much for coming.
Hey, my pleasure.
Today I wanted to talk a little bit about your church service last week.
Okay. A lot of people like that.
We got a good response.
Okay, good.
Yeah, what did you hear?
Well, a lot of people came up, and they were also interested. You know, I did a little. Let me start over. The service was about prayer,
right?
And it was the fourth in a series of Unity's 5 basic principles,
right?
And so the whole idea there was to tell people a little bit about what prayer was, how it worked, how it works in your life. And I wanted to give them an example. And so I made up a little example of how a 5-step prayer would work. You know, here's some of the steps you go through. And it's really modeled after what Jesus said in the 6th chapter of Matthew. He said, pray like this, okay? And then he went down through various steps. And so I went through those steps and just did something else, okay? And so anyways, I wrote that prayer up and I printed it out. And I had it available for people if they wanted to, you know, if they liked the prayer and they liked the idea of how to do it and wanted an example, I printed them up and had it available after the service.
I actually have one here. A reference, 5-step prayer.
Yeah, that's it.
Yeah.
And so a lot of people came up. I mean, I printed out 10 or 12 of them.
Right.
Figured that ought to be enough. Maybe 1 or 2 people had come up. They were gone like that.
Yeah.
So I'm going to print some more up and have them available this coming week.
I think anytime, I mean, all your lessons are very practical.
Yeah.
And they, you know, explain,
here's how to do it.
This is what you need to do. And I think that last week with another example of what I thought I knew, but I didn't know. You know,
or just another level.
Yeah. Okay.
Because you know, people start out with prayer. I mean, when they're little, it's rote prayers.
Right.
You know, the minister says one, or you memorize the Lord's Prayer, or there's now I lay me down to sleep prayer.
Yeah.
You know, that sort of stuff. And if you've ever noticed, if somebody does a grace prayer before dinner, or a person gets up and does a prayer to serve, they always do the same thing.
Right.
You know, it's something that they've memorized, you know.
Right.
And why? Because they really don't know how to open that inner door and just be in that prayer consciousness. And once you're there, once you know how to do that, then you say what Spirit wants to say at the moment.
You said the purpose of prayer is not to change God. Our prayer is to change us.
Exactly.
Wow. And I thought that, you know, I'm going to, you know,
right.
I'm going to let him know what I need.
That's right.
You know, and you're saying, no, that's not what it's about.
Exactly.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's
and
amazing.
I think I gave you an example of that.
You did.
You know,
did. Yeah.
Several. And that's so true because, and I don't want to criticize anybody or anybody's beliefs, but for most of us, that's what we've been taught. You know, that God is a sentient being on another dimension, and we have to get His attention.
Right.
Okay. If He's not out to lunch and He's listening, you know, He might grant us a miracle. You know, that's not what it is at all. And the purpose of the example that I gave was to show that as we raise our consciousness and affirm certain things, those things just naturally flow through us as universal law.
Yeah.
That's the way that it works.
Yeah.
Now, having said that, yes, we have guides. Yes, there are angels. There are spiritual avatars on dimensions that we can't see or hear with our own eyes. All right, but they are there. And they are there for help and assistance. But what you got to do, and the whole idea, is raise your consciousness to where those things are, and then they can open doors for you that you can walk through.
So prayer is not asking for things. prayer is lifting ourselves to the place where those things are.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
Well, that was the example of the rain.
I mean, this is just an awakening.
Yeah.
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 I mean, it's amazing that so now when I go into the prayer closet, I'm raising my consciousness to where God is.
That's right.
Wow.
Yeah.
Attempting to
that's why Jesus said, like, forgive and you will be forgiven. Give and it will be given to you. Seek and you shall find. Those sorts of things. What he is saying. I mean, those phrases sound really nice, okay, and they're almost poetic. But the whole idea, if you look at the teachings that he has, it's all about if you do this, then this is what's going to come forward.
Right.
Right. Think in this way, believe in this way.
This is what will happen.
This is what
the reason why you are healed is because you believe. You believe, and that's why you're healed.
That's right.
Right. So you have to activate a higher consciousness.
That's right.
It's amazing.
Yeah.
It's just eye opening. So I have to redo everything. Yeah.
Take it to another level.
Yeah.
That's all. And so in your prayer time, what you want to do is you just want to take a deep breath. You want to relax yourself. And then you want to invite in that presence. And, you close your eyes and take a deep breath and just simply know God is here right now. And as you feel that, you can feel that energy. And then you go from there.
Yeah. So the first thing is focusing on God.
Yeah. Yeah, that's number one. And like Jesus said in the 6th chapter of Matthew, he said, pray like this. And the first words out of his mouth, our Father who art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. Focus on God. That's number one.
Wow. And then the second thing we do is make the connection.
Right.
And I know that I am radiant. Tell me a little bit more about making a connection.
Well, the connection, here's the idea. Again, most of us have been taught that God is a sentient being out there, okay? And if we can get his attention, not her attention, but his attention, that sort of thing. And so you're not praying to a being out there who's going to grant you a miracle. The idea is God is here right now, flowing through every part of your being, and you are connected to that. You are a child of God. And so what you want to do is just feel that connection.
And you talked about how you practice, because there was a time where you tried to make that connection and it wasn't always possible for you.
I couldn't quite find the words or find the connect to do that, and so I repeated our prayer for protection. The light of God surrounds us. And the rest of it. So I started repeating that. And what I used to do,
and if you repeat that with feeling and passion, you will begin to feel it. And
absolutely,
that connection will come.
Absolutely.
The light of God, you're like, oh, wait a minute, it is.
Right.
Yeah. So
well, I'll tell you what I used to do is I used to just sit there and I would repeat that. Now, it took me a while to memorize it, okay? I mean, I had a prayer bulletin and I would, repeat it, that sort of thing. But after a while, I would just go down through it, and then I would use various offertory statements. And after that, I would use Bible phrases, that, meant something to me. And as I would repeat those things, I would just come into an awareness that
I'm one with God.
Exactly. Yeah, God is here right now.
And to me, I'm not a professional here, but that's enough. I don't need to do any more.
That's right.
I mean, just that connection, that feeling that, this is absolute. I'm with this.
Right.
That's enough.
And,
I mean, there's more to do, but that's powerful within itself.
It is. And one of the things we talked about on Sunday was prayer, okay? What we didn't talk about was meditation.
Right.
Okay.
Right.
So you do those first steps in meditation, and then you can just sit there in that energy. And that's more of a meditation type of thing. And incredible things come. In other words, depending on how long you want to meditate, typically a half an hour is good. And I can tell you, when I was in ministerial school, we used to meet every morning at 7:30 in one of the chapels there, And somebody would get up and read the daily word, which takes about a minute and a half. And then we would sit in the silence for about 5 minutes. And then after that, the person would get up and give a short 3-minute talk or summary of maybe the lesson or something. Not very long, okay? And the total time from 7:30 to when we were in was about 15 minutes, all right? So it was actually setting an intent, setting an energy, which we do with a daily word. Then we would sit in meditation for a while, and then somebody would just kind of close the service. That was the idea. And Shannon, I can tell you, if you have a regular practice that you do every day at the same time, and you sit for no longer than 15 minutes, some people say a half an hour, you're going to come to a place sooner or later where you're connected and you know it, and life becomes almost like flying prayer, which I mentioned. In other words, you ask and it's given. You set an affirmation and something will happen immediately. And I could tell you stories from now until next week about what happened in that 15 minutes.
Yeah, you told us a story about the rain.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, you told us that story, how you guys got together and did a whole group prayer.
Right.
And how, from that prayer after the service, a couple hours later,
Yeah.
you guys got rain after a long drought here in Tennessee. So that's amazing. But I mean, I've heard people talk about that, the power of, they have like a World Day of Prayer.
Yes.
And they have it like where everyone kind of gets together at the same time.
That's right.
And they set an intention. And
yeah, Unity actually started that many, many years ago. It was called the World Day of Prayer. It was on, I think it was September 12th. Okay. Now imagine, it was September 11th type of thing, but I think it was in the middle of September, and that's what Unity started. I'll tell you another one. I was thinking of this on the way over here. I was doing a service one time in a church, and there was about, I don't know, maybe 50 people in the congregation, maybe a few more than that. And it was a younger congregation, and there was, I think, 4 or 5 young families there where mom was holding an infant. I mean, less than 1 year old.
Wow.
Okay, just, kind of hold on. And I got up to do a meditation, and every one of those kids was fussing. They were crying, they were wiggling there, and you could just, as I got up there and started it, and you could hear this all over the.
That's tough for a speaker, huh?
Well, here's what happened. You could feel the tension in the room. All right. So what I did was, and this was just a spur of the moment. It was one of those God thoughts, okay, because you're in meditation or prayer, and so basically what I did is I said, so let's just be aware, and I don't remember the exact words I used, but so let's just be aware of all those little ones in the congregation this morning, and in their mother's arms, and so precious, just starting out life, or something like that, and so let's just send them our love, and just feel that radiant love surrounding each and every one of those kids stopped crying.
Wow.
Stopped fussing.
Wow.
Every single one of them just started, cooing silently and just kind of went to sleep in their mother's arms.
Everyone sent their...
We changed the energy. We said, let's go to love, okay, rather than anxiety and fear and that sort of thing. And it was instantaneous, Wow. And that's, when Paul said, pray without ceasing. I mean, that's what we're talking about. How do you, and therein lies the mystery of the spiritual journey. How do we stay in that consciousness when other stuff is going on?
That's the tough part. Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Well, real quick, state your intention. Now, earlier you said you don't want to ask for anything, but you state your intention.
Well, you're not asking for something. Okay. What you're doing is you're affirming the consciousness that you already have it.
Okay.
So what I often, I
affirm that I'm now open and receptive to new and greater way of being.
A new way or greater being, or let's say that you have a physical challenge that's going on. And so you would say something like, thank you, God, for your healing energy flowing through me right now. And I feel whole and healthy on every level of my being. And I know that I can go forth and do everything that is mine to do.
You're so good at it.
I've had some practice.
Man!
It's practice.
Yeah.
Now don't forget, I worked in Silent Unity for 2 years, 3 days a week.
In a couple seconds, you're able to kind of put it together like that.
Yeah.
It takes time.
Pray without ceasing.
Yeah.
It has its effect. So, and I guess it works on any level. Let's say you've got a financial thing, then you just affirm that even though I'm having some difficulty right now, nevertheless, I know that my greater good, something like that is going to show up, or is showing up right now.
And then we thank Thanksgiving.
Yeah.
Then we thank God for giving us.
Yeah, thank you, God, for being right here and right now, and opening the doors. And so it is done.
And then you said the last one is release and let go, and that's the hard part.
Yeah.
Well, it's not the hard part, but let it go. Don't go out and talk about it and tell people.
Well, I tell you what the hard part is when you got a knot in your tail about something, okay, and it's keeping you up at night and that sort of thing, and you do the prayer and you release it and let go, you've got an old tape in there that you've been running for a while.
Right.
Okay. And so it's going to creep back in or try to. And so the idea there is once you release it and let it go, don't think about it anymore.
Okay. So we're doing a daily prayer practice, and we address this particular issue. Tomorrow in our daily prayer practice, we're not talking about that again.
You can if you want.
Okay.
But make it affirmative prayer.
Okay. Gotcha. Okay, gotcha. Doug, you know what I'm about to say is 17 minutes, we're out of time.
Yeah. Well, one thing I want to share with those who are watching, we're going to start doing prayer requests in the service very shortly. I'm not sure whether we'll do it this Sunday, but very, very shortly we're going to start doing prayer requests in the service. Very similar to the way we used to do it. And we'll have a wireless microphone, so I'll be able to come down into the...
Oh, we getting fancy. You did Chattanooga getting wireless microphones. Go ahead, I'm sorry.
Well, yeah. Well, I've got the headset now.
Okay.
So I can actually come down there with the wireless mic, and I can say, who has got a prayer request. If a hand goes up, I'll just,
hand him the mic.
Hand him the mic. I'll probably hold the mic, but I'll hand him the mic and say, and what's your prayer request? And then we'll just do a prayer right there for them. And one of the beautiful things about that is you've got 30, 40 or so people in that congregation who can hold that space with you.
Wow, that's right.
And that's big. That's So. And we used to do this.
Is that collective prayer? Should we call it? Can I say collective or no?
Oh, I don't know.
Okay. It's a bunch of people at the same time putting that energy out.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. All kind of thinking along the same line. And we used to do this, years ago. And I can tell you, there was miraculous things. I mean, people would come back the next week and say, "Hey, something really changed in my life." So.
Should we put that email address up now for people if they want to send a prayer request in now? Are we going to be doing that next week, this Sunday coming up?
I haven't figured that out yet.
Okay.
But if you have a prayer request, feel free to send it in.
Okay, I just put the information up. You can contact at unityofchattanooga.org. That's the email address if you have a prayer request. And as soon as we start doing that, we'll start to address those prayer requests at that time.
Yeah, and one other thing that's coming up, this is the fifth talk about the 5 principles.
Right,
okay?
and I want to...
So we're kind of concluding that, and very shortly we'll have Easter the following week, and then Faye Ann is going to do a service, and then when I'm up next, the idea there is, what questions do you have? We've talked about the 5 principles, and so I'm sure things have come up. We're going to have a basket this week in the service in the end, where if you've got a question that you would like me to talk about, write that out, put it in the basket, and we're going to take a look at those, and that will be the basis for the service in about 3 weeks.
That's going to be nice.
Yeah.
People will get a chance to really address what their concerns are, what their questions are. You'll be there to answer those questions.
That's right.
That's going to be
To
great.
the best of my ability. You know.
So this coming Sunday, 10:30 a.m. we start our service with the mindful movement meditation with Laura Noyes. She does a great job.
She does a fabulous job.
Yeah. We're going to start that at 10:45. We take a 15-minute break.
Yep.
And then we have you come in. And what are we talking about? What are you talking about this Sunday?
Walking your talk.
Walking.
In other words, it's all well and good to know all these principles, but you got to do them in your life. And so, what is that all about? How does that work? You know.
I'm gonna be honest with you, Doug. I really believe that we need to have some classes because this stuff. I mean, a 45-minute talk. It just doesn't. I mean, this stuff is intense.
It is.
It's a lot of information,
and
it needs to be broken down.
Yeah, and you need to be able to ask questions and interact. Here's what's going on right now.
I mean, this is for people who are looking to change their life. I mean, if you're just looking to come to service and fellowship, and there's nothing wrong with that.
Right.
Hear the word and just try to remember and go on about your week.
And there's a lot of people that's enough.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. But I'm one of them people, man. I want to dig in. And so for that, I need more.
And that's typically what unity is about. It's about a personal spiritual search and journey. And for those people who are interested in that, that's what we offer. And it's typically that's not a mainstream concern, at least in our culture. But for those who want that, we offer that. Now, one thing we have been talking about is a new membership class, and I've got most of that put together at this point. What I wanted to do was go through the 5 principles first, and then once that's done, then we'll do the new membership class. We'll do that on Zoom, and then we'll go into some classes.
And for those people who are interested in new membership classes, we just put up something on the screen there. Just you can contact us, give us your name, and we'll forward you some information on when we're going to start those classes.
Yeah, and contact information too.
Yeah.
So that because it's going to be on Zoom at this particular point, so we need to contact you and say, okay, here's the Zoom address, and here's when to fire it up.
Yeah. And remember, if you are being blessed, or you feel like this message could be a blessing to, if it's been a blessing to you, or if it could be a blessing, you think it could be a blessing to someone else, feel free to like us, share us with your family, share us with your friends, get the word out. We're doing great things here at Unity Chattanooga. People are stepping up to the plate and just doing all kinds of stuff.
You can feel the energy every week. It's growing every week.
So, and I'm just grateful. So this Sunday, 11 a.m., Reverend Doug Werth, walk the walk, talk the talk.
Right.
And we'll see you guys then. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you. See you Sunday.